What is up, Nerds Nation? Welcome to the F and Nerds podcast. Today we are reviewing The Five Bloods. I'm Nick Denizio. That's Martin Moreno.
I feel like I just saw you.
I know, right? What's going on here? But like I said, we are reviewing Spike Lee's new Netflix film, The Five Bloods. Premiered yesterday. Even though by the time this comes out, it'll probably be like a week later, but that's
a couple days.
That's besides the point. Mm-hmm. So let's just jump right in. Him coming off his Oscar-winning BlacKkKlansman.
Good for him.
First time working with Netflix. This was supposed to premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. Obviously, that's not going to happen because it got canceled. So yeah, give me things you liked about it.
Some things that stood out to me. Delroy Lindo. Delroy Lindo. To say that 10 times fast, I always, maybe it's just me because, English is not my first language, but I always struggle with that name. We were saying when he came on screen that it was just so good to see him again. Mm-hmm. I know we were watching with our buddy Josh, and he made a comment about how he's been on television.
Right.
Over the past couple of years, but I haven't really seen him in a movie in a while.
He might have had some small roles in some films in the last couple of years, but I think, like, for me, the last thing I remember him from was Domino, which was I think 2003?
2003 or 2004,
maybe,
along those lines. That was when, like, that kind of, the Shooting Aces, Lucky Number 11, like that kind of aesthetic,
that kind of style,
that was kind of high at the time. Wow, we're just kind of giving away our age, but yeah, to me, the clear default that comes to mind is like Gone in 60 Seconds or like Romeo Must Die. That's like the one, two, like that always kind of come into my head. But seeing him back and just seeing him, like, oh my God, like he was so great in this movie. I think it was the term Oscar-worthy performance gets thrown around a lot, and I think this definitely falls into that. Other than his performance, I don't really have anything else to say. That's really about it.
I would agree with you. Delroy Lindo is absolutely fantastic in this movie, and it's really nice to see him get a role that he can just like sink his teeth into and just like crush it. Because he, like, from the things I remember him from, like you said, Gone in 60 Seconds, Domino, going all the way back to like, Broken Arrow and Get Shorty.
Broken Arrow.
Well, that's
the Bachelor Party.
That's the Bachelor Party. Yeah. Broken Arrow and like Get Shorty, just these movies that I remember him from like the 90s, and that I just love seeing him pop up in. And I don't remember him having like a really like almost like a role that he's at the forefront of. And even though this is definitely more of an ensemble, he really stands out in this ensemble. And
I was thinking about that, let's play hypotheticals here. If he were to get nominated, would he be supporting or lead?
It depends on what Netflix wants to really push him for.
Yeah.
We don't know what this Best Actor field is going to look like by the time we get to the Oscars, especially since things keep getting shuffled around and pushed back. But I would think it would be supporting.
Same.
But they could make the case for Best Actor depending on how they want to go about it.
You can either we'll get a little more into it, but yeah.
I think either or. I think you could definitely do, but yeah, he's just so good here, and he just really does the, and this kind of goes through like the entire movie. Obviously, it's showing kind of like the Black experience of soldiers in Vietnam, and he's obviously suffering from a major case of PTSD, and he gets a little crazier as the movie goes on, and you just feel it. It feels real. It feels authentic, and yeah, he absolutely crushed it. A few of the other things that I kind of enjoyed. I did kind of like how, this also might go into some of the negatives of the movie, but I did like how it weaves in real documentary footage and real people that the movie discusses, and it kind of flashes their pictures. So it has like this blend of like a narrative film, but also a bit of a documentary. And I did like that. I enjoyed that style.
I feel like that's like a Spike Lee thing, though.
It kind of is a Spike Lee thing. He does do that a lot, but it's the same thing here, and I really did enjoy how he did it. And there were just some other like artistic choices that he made, like with
the in-your-face camera, the classic.
The in-your-face camera with the, and then even like this really isn't a spoiler, but the way the movie opens is these guys are kind of going back to Vietnam, and one of the first scenes is like them in like a nightclub.
Which was, yeah.
And it's like the four of them as they're like dancing towards the camera.
Marvin Gaye.
And it's just, And like I don't know why. It was just a really dope shot. And like just how, how they were moving through the crowd and everything was really cool.
I don't know what it is about that Apocalypse Now behind the DJ shot that.
You got hyped.
Dude, when I saw that shot in the fucking trailer, I'm like, that shot like really stuck with me.
Yes.
And then obviously I was like really hyped for the movie. So then, like you said, like that comes in early. And I'm like, dude, this shot is so good. And then like Marvin Gaye starts playing and they're like dancing, and I'm just like, I was like excited. I'm like, let's fucking do this. I'm ready for this movie. But yeah, that nightclub scene like really kind of, I really did enjoy, and yeah, unfortunately, just kind of didn't really work the rest of the way.
Right. But before we get on to that, I just want to give props to the other actors as well. You've got Clark Peters and Isaiah Whitlock Jr., who are, if you're a fan of The Wire, they are some Wire veterans, and they were great in that show. So it was really cool to see them here, and especially.
Is this a little bit of a spoiler?
This might be a little bit of a spoiler, but I think it needs to be in Isaiah Whitlock's contract that every movie he's in, he has to give a she.
And you know me, I say she
a lot
all the time. So in the back of my mind, there was like a few things that I was looking for with like, being a Spike Lee joint. Like obviously the in-your-face camera, which is like a kind of, I guess, trademark.
Yes.
Which one stands out to you the most? Like, not to get off, like the in-your-face camera shot, because there's one to me that always like sticks out, which is really kind of like random.
Oh man, because he does it a lot. He does a lot, and like most of the time it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Do the Right Thing.
Which character? Because that's one of my for me. What's Samuel L. Jackson's name? Mr. El Señor? Is that his name?
In Do the Right Thing?
Yeah.
Oh man.
When he's like sitting down and he quickly comes up to the mic and he starts like talking. For some reason, the one that always sticks out with me is 25th Hour.
Oh,
when Anna Paquin comes in through the curtains and she kind of like does her thing. I don't know. We're completely getting off topic, but yeah. For some, like I always like just
you kind of like gravitate towards that.
I don't know why, but yeah.
And then you also have Chadwick Boseman in here, which he doesn't get a lot to do, but I think he's effective in the scenes that he's in. He brings like that very like strong presence. Obviously, he's Black Panther, but it's cool seeing him do some good work in this because. I mean, like I haven't seen 21 Bridges yet, but like he's an actor that has done some really great roles, and then I feel like since he got into the MCU, he hasn't had a whole lot of roles to really sink his teeth into. But I mean, it's kind of the same here. He's not in the movie for very long, but he's good in what he's.
His accent was weird though. Just for me, like there were moments where it was like T'Challa accent, and then moments where it was like not, and then moments where it was like Southern.
Mm-hmm.
I was like.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint
what
he was going for. Yeah.
But he was good.
Yeah, he was.
And there's that one great shot of him sitting on that throne, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
it was such a great shot.
Yeah, it was a cool shot. Mm-hmm. So other than that, what are the things that didn't work for you?
Oh, boy. Okay. To me, overall, the film was just very flat. I think there were certain instances or certain situations that happened that kind of instill or what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of ask for like a bigger reaction, and you just don't get it.
Right. Yeah. There's moments where you're expecting there to be more of whether it's an emotional response or just a grander feel, and it's just not there.
Yeah, and that's just us personally. This is kind of how we feel. Also, Spike Lee is not really known for directing action, like we were saying. Some of the action sequences in the movie, again, just kind of fell flat. And this may sound disrespectful. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be rude. But there were a lot of times in the movie that I was watching it, and it felt like it was done by an inexperienced director. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want to say like a first-time director, but just for someone of Spike Lee's kind of caliber and 30-plus year career, coming off an Oscar win, like there were just certain decisions that were made in the movie that I just didn't understand why. And like, look, he now has his Oscar. He's now with Netflix. He can like play more in, I guess, be more ambitious, so to speak. Like,
which this movie, that's another thing I'll give it is it does not lack ambition. It's an extremely ambitious movie.
Yeah, like he can experiment, do some things, but I just feel like some of the decisions that were made in the movie in regards to some of the character choices and instances that happened, I just felt like I was like a little bit all over the place. Like, why is this happening? This is happening now. This is not. And then, yeah, just for me, the main thing that kind of comes off of is just flat. Like, we had that nightclub scene. We're pumped. We're into it. And then from there, it was just like I couldn't get engaged. Like, I was having trouble engaging into the film.
Right, which I don't even blame, like, because some of the editing is a little erratic, you know, and there's a lot of hard cuts to certain things that structurally don't really make sense. But I don't blame that. It's just more of how some of the scenes play out. You know, we're going to dip into spoiler territory a little bit. So here we go. When they first find the gold, it just stumbles upon because the character had to go take a shit. Yeah. And that's how he found it. So it's like, you just expect there to be just more to it than that. You know what I mean?
It's like that one line from Titanic when the guy's like, life is a game of luck.
All life is a game of luck.
I believe that every now and then you get lucky.
Right.
I believe, but that, you know, coincidence, whatever. But even something as simple as like him squatting down to take a shit and maybe getting like a sun glare hit in his face from the sun, that would been maybe a more, you know, like, yeah, not saying it can't happen. You can definitely squat down, take a shit, and when you go dig, you hit the piece of gold. Like,
right.
Not saying that can't happen, but it just felt very convenient.
Yes.
It felt very...
well, I think that kind of also goes into how it's shot. Like you know, it does have some really beautiful, like, you know, scenery.
Yeah.
In the movie, like some of the cinematography is really nice, but I think the shots could have been a little bit more. It's hard for me to say because, like, you think of most war movies and then how there's a certain level of cinematic quality to them,
especially Vietnam War
movies. And, you know, I got the feeling that Spike was kind of going for a bit of an homage to Apocalypse Now, obviously him showing it. But I expected some of the shots to maybe reflect that a little bit more and have more of a grand, like I said, like that's the thing, like this movie should have more of an epic feel to it. You know what I mean? More of a grander scale, and I didn't get that.
And not just that, but I feel like there were, in terms of setting, in terms of environment, there were certain times when I felt like we were in Vietnam, and there were certain times when I felt we were in a studio.
Right.
Like towards the end, I felt like, for all we know, the whole thing was shot in Vietnam. Maybe it was shot in like a different part. I don't know. But
well, I know they shot in Southeast Asia, like they shot in like Bangkok. I don't think it was actually shot in Vietnam.
Well, regardless, that kind of aesthetic that was sort of established in certain points of the film I was with the setting. Maybe it was a dirt road. I don't know. But there were certain times with the setting that I kind of got pulled out from it. That I just felt like, okay, we're either like in a studio or whatever we were in just before, or like a couple scenes ago. We're not here anymore. Like, it just felt, there were just parts of it that just felt a little jarring to me. Also, in that sense, the same thing with the characters. There's certain things that happen with the characters, like, not to get too spoiler heavy, but like tie them up and then let's let them go. Let's fight, and then they're like, just certain things that happen throughout.
Right. There's moments where characters fight and certain things happen, and then the next scene, it's almost like nothing happened.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
and
it's like, wait, weren't you guys just fighting?
Yeah.
Why are you now just walking without there being an issue? Like,
yeah,
it made
and
no sense.
There was just so much stuff that just kind of pulled me out, and then when there's like a big reveal at the end of, you know, who is in charge of what, or who kind of double played or betrayed who, I just didn't matter. I was like, all right. Like, I didn't get any. The only time that I was that I was like a wow factor was when not the first time we lose a character to a landmine, but the second time.
Right.
I was like, oh shit.
Right.
Yeah, that, and then obviously the grenade scene.
Yes.
Which was a very powerful scene, but to counter that, it was so foreshadowed.
I know.
It was like, I'm like, the second there's an exchange about that, I'm like, all right, that's probably how this character's gonna go.
But that's the thing too, is that it happens, and then it's just like,
yeah, and it's just
like, oh, right, whatever. It's like there's no real like reaction to it.
The same thing with the first time a character dies from the landmine. It's like the same thing, and then it's like he's so worried about, you know, saving. Well, we're gonna get into it. You know, he's so worried about saving his son, and then he goes back to like hating his son. It's like, it's like back and forth. I was like, what is happening?
It's like, and you can't get a good grasp as to what.
And like, yes, I understand
he's
like I understand he's suffering from a serious case of PTSD. God bless everyone who's going through that. I can't even imagine what that's like. But there was just so many moments where I just kept getting taken out of the movie, and I just couldn't properly like be engaged.
Right.
And like we said, there are certain times where I feel like the movie's asking for a certain or bigger reaction, but I just couldn't give it. Like I just genuinely couldn't really.
I would agree. Mm-hmm. It's also a shame too that this movie didn't work out better.
Well, for us,
like yeah, like it's a shame that I didn't like it more, because this movie does have some very powerful moments. Especially like there's the one scene where it's a flashback and they're listening to the one broadcast
of Martin Luther King getting
shot, and just like that whole scene and how angry everybody is, and it felt very reflective of the times now, which is insane how relevant this movie is, to now. You know what I mean?
And not just that, but the fact that literally earlier yesterday, Josh and I watched the Dave Chappelle, the 846,
which was,
and he was talking about how like when you see one of your people get like how some like military men who served time, how they went on like active shooting sprees, it's because like them being a military man, like you see your brother, like your fallen brother, so you want revenge on whoever it is. Like they're seeing the police as terrorists, because in war, when you see your fallen brother, people kill them. Like not to get too political,
right?
But to see that exact moment in this movie, and just other things that happen towards the end that are so reflective of what's going on today, is like
it's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it is fucking insane. And like,
which I have to give the movie credit for that, as to how,
like, obviously you don't want to go into the movie. You obviously want to make a point about like from Spike is always like again, Spike Lee. I'm not gonna call him right. I don't know him like that, but Mr. Lee. He that's him. He likes to think of like Malcolm X.
Yeah. Oh, he's always done that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but you never want to go into it and be like, I would imagine he doesn't want it to be more reflective based off of what's going on now. Like he wants to be impactful, but like, you just, I don't know how to really like properly say this. I just imagine that he wouldn't want it to be this way. Like in regards to everything that's happening. Like, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Because it's tough. Because what's going on right now is so fucked up.
I know.
But I don't know. Like, yes, he's trying to like relay a message, but the fact that it's so
like relevant,
like you almost don't want it to be so relevant.
Yes.
Like now.
Well, that's the thing too, because in movies, it's like you want a certain level of escapism.
Yeah.
From
Nick. Yes.
From
that's
yeah.
That's it.
From like the things that are going on today, and like the fact that this movie deals with Vietnam and like these soldiers' experiences in Vietnam and what they went through, and how they were fighting for a country that didn't respect them and love them, you know what I mean, and how they came back and they were hated, and just going through all of that, and then to be just we're still in the same spot. It feels like we're still in the same, dealing with the same shit. And it feels wrong. It feels wrong, and like that's the, even though I didn't like the movie, like the message is not any less powerful. The message in this movie is very powerful in what it deals with and what it talks about, and it's
almost more power with the unfortunate situation
that we're in now. And it's in going back, it's scary how relevant this movie is to today in dealing with Vietnam.
But I think what you said is perfect, because like you want to the escapism fact of films and movies. I think it's one of my favorite things about it, how you can just kind of disappear into this world for like 90 minutes, however long it is, whether short film, whatever, and just disappear into this world, enjoy the magic, and then just kind of separate from it. But we're almost not escaping, because we're literally living some of the stuff that's going on now, and it's just it's insane.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, is like with the message he's trying to convey, it's also steeped in like it's almost like it reminds me a lot, and we were talking about this yesterday. It reminds me a lot of Bacurau that we saw at TIFF.
Oh my fucking god!
Which is a movie that we did not like at all. But and don't get me wrong, this movie's a lot better than that. But it's the same kind of thing, as where it deals with these very relevant and important political issues, but it kind of submerges them in like this B movie genre feel. Because like it's like you said, like it has like some of the scenes, like you wouldn't think Spike directed because Spike is a veteran, but it makes me wonder if he was going for this sort of like B-movie kind of feel to it in terms of like the genre, like
That's
these
funny
old
that you
school.
mentioned that, because what I was referring to in settings, I've like this is completely irrelevant, but some of like the CW shows, a lot of them film in Canada, and there, for example, Arrow, there are some certain scenes that take place in like the jungle, and some of the jungle scenes that I got in this movie reminded me of some of the scenes from Arrow.
Okay.
Like that sort of, that's what I'm saying. Like it didn't feel like we were, not whether it was shot in Vietnam or Thailand, it didn't feel like we were like in another world. It just kind of felt like we were like in the studio.
Right.
Or like on maybe a smaller budget, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of some of the vibes that I got off as well. And I think you nailed it last night when you said it's an offspring of Bacurau and Triple Frontier.
Yes.
Like, that's literally the, and in my opinion, that's like the perfect explanation for it.
So, with all that being said, how would you score it?
I would score it...
I think it's a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and I think it's a 66% audience score.
I'm leaning more towards the audience score. I will... Because I was really thinking about it, and like we said, even though there are very powerful scenes, Delroy Lindo, I think, is Oscar-worthy. I'm going to go just below the audience score. I'm going to go 6.3.
Okay. I'm definitely in the same ballpark. I think if Delroy Lindo does not get nominated, I think it's a crime because he is so good here, and it's the best he's ever been. Like, to me, this is one of those like career performances from him, and he absolutely should be recognized. And yes, the movie has it has some really powerful messaging. It's shocking to see how relevant it is with today. But yeah, it's a movie that is just, in terms of its structure, it's a bit of a mess. It's very flat in moments where it shouldn't be, and I think just in terms of just overall, it should have been better. I think it should have been better, especially with like the cast, because I think everybody in the cast is really bringing it, especially the main core of the ensemble. But yeah, I'm going 6.2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And other thing too. There are 3 characters in the movie who could literally be done without.
Yeah, not needed at all.
At all.
Yeah, they show up about halfway through and they have no point to the story at all.
But yeah, that's kind of how we see it.
Right. Thank you guys for watching. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify,
Anchor.
Give us Apple Podcasts.
If you're gonna go out for a nice walk, hit a play button, let it repeat, give us a call. I feel like I just said this.
Yeah. Did you just say this?
I don't know. We said in our last review, but that was a while back.
Yeah.
But thank you all for listening, and be good to each other.
Be excellent to each other. In the words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other.
Dude.
Dude, you with the hair, that works.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.